What makes a leader truly influential? Is it their position, their power, or is it something more? Let's delve into this thought. Imagine a world where leadership is not just about the title you hold or the power you wield. A world where leadership is about demonstrating values through action, where walking the talk is not just a philosophy but a practice. This, my friends, is the kind of leadership that leaves a lasting impression. Now let's ponder on the concept of values. Values are those fundamental beliefs that guide our actions and behavior. They shape our perception of right and wrong, good and bad. They are the bedrock of our character. But what happens when these values are not just preached, but practiced, especially by those in leadership roles? When leaders live by the values they espouse, it sends a powerful message. It tells those around them that these values are not mere words, but principles they firmly believe in and adhere to. It's like saying, I won't just tell you what to do, but I'll show you how it's done. And herein lies the importance of leading by example. It's not just about what leaders say, but what they do. You see, actions often speak louder than words, especially in a leadership role. When a leader's actions align with their words, it builds trust, fosters respect, and inspires others to emulate those actions. But what happens when there's a disconnect? When words and actions don't match up? Well, it erodes trust, breeds cynicism, and undermines the leader's credibility. That's why leading by example is so vital. It's about consistency between what is said and what is done. So let's return to our initial question. What makes a leader truly influential? Is it their position, their power, or is it their ability to live by their values, to walk the talk, to lead by example? A leader's influence then is not just about their words but also about their actions. Let's explore this further. Consider the story of a successful business leader who built a billion-dollar company from scratch. Let's call her Jane. Jane was an ambitious woman with an idea that she believed could change the world. Her journey started with nothing more than a dream, a small loan, and a tiny office space in a less than glamorous part of town. She knew the road to success was going to be a steep climb that would test her mettle. But she was ready to put in the work. She rolled up her sleeves, dove into the trenches, and got her hands dirty right alongside her early team members. Jane's leadership was unique. She didn't just direct from a corner office, she led by doing. Her values were more than words on a corporate poster. They were actions she demonstrated daily. She believed in transparency, so she cultivated an open-door policy. She valued hard work, so she was the first to arrive and the last to leave. She championed innovation, so she encouraged creative thinking and risk-taking. Over time, Jane's team grew from a handful to hundreds and then thousands. But her leadership style never wavered. She continued to lead by example, demonstrating the values she held dear. But Jane's journey wasn't without its challenges. There were times when the company's future seemed uncertain, when critics doubted her vision, when competitors tried to edge her out. But in the face of adversity, Jane didn't falter. She showed resilience, grit, and unwavering commitment to her vision. Her team saw this. They saw their leader standing firm in the storm, holding on to her values and leading with conviction, and it inspired them to do the same. They rallied behind Jane, rolled up their sleeves, and worked harder than ever before. The result? Jane's company flourished. It grew from a small startup into a billion-dollar empire. And it wasn't just her innovative idea or business acumen that led to this success. It was Jane's ability to lead by example, to embody the values she preached, and to inspire her team through her actions. This leader's success wasn't just due to their smart business strategies, but also their ability to lead by example. But what happens when a leader's actions don't match their words? This question raises a pivotal aspect of leadership, the power of consistency. Imagine a ship sailing through the vast ocean. The captain sets the course, and the crew follows. But what if the captain changes the course at whim, without any apparent reason? The crew will be left in confusion, uncertainty, and potentially in danger. This is precisely what happens when a leader's actions contradict their words. Let's consider a real-life story. Once there was a CEO of a burgeoning tech company. He preached the values of transparency, open communication, and mutual respect. However, his actions told a different story. He was often secretive about company decisions, dismissed feedback, and showed favoritism. This inconsistency between his words and actions created a chasm of trust within the team. The result? Employee morale plummeted. Productivity suffered, the company's growth stagnated. The CEO, once an inspiring figure, was now seen as untrustworthy and unreliable. His inconsistent behavior had not only affected his personal leadership effectiveness, but also the overall performance of the team and the company. Consistency in leadership is akin to the rhythm in music. It sets a predictable beat, a reliable pattern that everyone can follow. When a leader's actions align with their words, it creates a harmony that resonates throughout the team. It instills trust, fosters a sense of security, and encourages employees to give their best. In contrast, inconsistency is like a discordant note in a symphony. It disrupts the flow, creates confusion, and erodes trust. And once trust is lost, it's incredibly hard to regain. In essence, consistency is not just about doing the right thing once or twice. It's about maintaining that pattern, day in and day out. It's about walking the talk, demonstrating your values through your actions, not just your words. So, whether you're a CEO of a multinational corporation, a team leader in a small startup, or a captain sailing a ship, remember this: your team is watching, and they're looking for consistency. Consistency, then, is key to leading by example. So, what's the impact of leading by example? Well, let's dive right in. Leading by example is a powerful force that can shape the culture and direction of any team. You see, when leaders walk the talk, they create an environment of trust and respect. This environment, in turn, fuels the team's morale. There's nothing quite like the feeling of knowing that your leader is in the trenches with you, practicing what they preach. It's like a shot of adrenaline, inspiring you to push beyond your limits and reach for greatness. Now imagine the opposite scenario: a leader who says one thing but does another. That's a recipe for confusion, disillusionment, and ultimately, a dip in morale. It's like trying to assemble a puzzle with mismatched pieces. The picture just doesn't come together. But there's more to leading by example than just boosting morale. It also has a direct impact on productivity. When leaders demonstrate their values through action, they set clear expectations for the team. They show, rather than tell, what success looks like. This clarity eliminates guesswork and paves the way for efficiency and high performance. Now let's bring this to life with a story. There was a leader named Alex. Alex took over a team that was struggling with low productivity and even lower morale. But instead of just barking orders from the sidelines, Alex rolled up his sleeves and got to work. He demonstrated commitment, respect, and a relentless pursuit of excellence. Slowly but surely, the team followed suit. They began to mirror Alex's behavior, and the transformation was astounding. Productivity soared, morale skyrocketed, and the team started achieving goals they never thought possible. This story is a testament to the power of leading by example. It shows that a leader's actions can be a catalyst for change, inspiring a team to rise above challenges and reach new heights. Leading by example, then, can have a profound impact on a team's success. So, the next time you're in a leadership role, remember, your actions speak louder than words. Show your team the way, and they'll follow you to the ends of the earth. So, what have we learned about leading by example? Well, quite a bit, haven't we? We've peeled back the layers of this critical leadership principle, revealing its depth and significance. Let's take a moment to revisit the key insights from our exploration. Firstly, the concept of leading by example is not just a fancy phrase. It's a tangible, actionable principle that every leader, from the boardroom to the playground, can implement. It's about embodying the values, ethics, and behaviors that you want to see mirrored in your team. As we discussed, it's not about being perfect. Instead, it's about striving for excellence, owning your mistakes, and showing your team that growth comes from learning and development. Secondly, we delved into the power of consistency. Consistency is the secret sauce that brings the principle of leading by example to life. It's about showing up day in and day out, demonstrating those values and behaviors consistently. It's not enough to walk the talk once in a while. True leadership is about being a reliable beacon that others can look up to, even in times of uncertainty. Then, we looked at the impact of demonstrating values through action. We learned that actions indeed speak louder than words, especially when it comes to leadership. By actively embodying your values, you're not just telling your team what's important, you're showing them. This approach fosters trust, strengthens relationships, and cultivates a culture where everyone feels empowered to act in alignment with shared values. As we wrap up this journey, I encourage you to reflect on your leadership behaviors. Consider the ways in which you could lead by example more effectively. What values do you want to exhibit? How can you demonstrate them more consistently? How can your actions inspire and guide those around you? Remember, a leader's influence is not just about their words, but also about their actions. So, how will you lead by example?